The woman walked into my courtroom with a smirk on her face. She looked more confident than the man sitting beside her. 20 minutes later, that same woman was being escorted out of the courtroom while her boyfriend stared at the floor in complete disbelief. What started as a routine family dispute became one of the most shocking cases I ever witnessed. And before the day was over, I had no choice but to make a decision that left the entire courtroom silent. The case involved Daniel Carter, his ex-wife Rachel Morgan, and Daniel's new girlfriend Olivia Bennett. Rachel had brought Daniel to court over unpaid child support and violations of a custody agreement involving their 8-year-old daughter, Emma. At first glance, it seemed like a straightforward case. Rachel sat quietly at the plaintiff's table, holding a folder full of documents. She looked nervous but prepared. Daniel sat across from her. He looked uncomfortable from the moment he entered the courtroom. But it wasn't Daniel who immediately caught my attention. It was Olivia. She wasn't a party to the case. She wasn't an attorney. She wasn't a witness. Yet she acted as if she owned the courtroom. She leaned back in her chair, rolled her eyes whenever Rachel spoke, and whispered comments loud enough for nearby spectators to hear. Every time Rachel tried to answer a question, Olivia laughed under her breath. I have seen confidence in court. I have seen arrogance in court. This was something different. This was disrespect. As the hearing began, Rachel explained that Daniel had missed multiple child support payments and repeatedly ignored the custody schedule approved by the court. While she spoke, Olivia folded her arms and shook her head dramatically. The jury wasn't involved in this case, but spectators filled nearly every seat. I noticed several people turning toward Olivia because her behavior was becoming increasingly distracting. Rachel continued. She explained that Emma often waited at the window for her father to arrive during scheduled visits. Sometimes he came, sometimes he didn't. The little girl never knew which version of her father she would get. As Rachel described Emma crying herself to sleep after missed visits, the courtroom became quiet, except for Olivia. She laughed not loudly, but loud enough. Every head in the courtroom turned toward her. Rachel stopped speaking. The silence felt heavy. Then Olivia looked directly at Rachel and smirked. That moment changed everything. I immediately warned her to remain silent. She nodded for about 30 seconds. Then the interruptions started again. Daniel looked embarrassed, actually embarrassed. Each time Olivia made a comment, Daniel seemed to sink lower into his chair. Interesting, very interesting. People who agree with bad behavior usually support it openly. Daniel looked like he wanted to disappear. Rachel then presented text messages, dozens of them. Mamas showing canceled visits, broken promises, missed payments, late excuses. Every document strengthened her case. Daniel's attorney tried to defend him. He argued that Daniel had experienced financial difficulties after changing jobs. Some of that explanation appeared reasonable until Rachel presented another set of documents, bank records, vacation receipts, luxury restaurant charges, Dutch Star purchases. The evidence screen lit up with transaction after transaction. The courtroom began whispering, because while Daniel claimed financial hardship, he somehow found money for expensive trips and gifts. Then Rachel revealed who many of those purchases were for Olivia, the new girlfriend. The courtroom became silent again. Daniel closed his eyes. Olivia rolled hers. I watched carefully. Human behavior often tells me more than testimony. And Olivia wasn't acting like someone concerned about the truth. She acted like someone convinced consequences didn't apply to her. Then came the first major surprise. Rachel displayed a social media post. A photo showed Daniel and Olivia on a luxury beach vacation. The caption read, "Best week of my life. No responsibilities, no drama." The post had been published on the exact weekend Daniel was supposed to spend with Emma. The courtroom reacted immediately. Daniel looked devastated. Rachel looked heartbroken. And Olivia laughed again. That laugh echoed through the room. I had heard enough. I warned her a second time. This warning was much stronger. She was not a party to the case. She was there only as an observer. If her behavior continued, she would be removed. Most people would understand. Most people would stop. Olivia did not. In fact, her behavior became worse. As Rachel described Emma's emotional struggles, Olivia interrupted from her seat. Maybe she should stop playing the victim. The courtroom gasped. Rachel froze. Daniel's face turned pale. Even his attorney looked shocked. I immediately ordered Olivia to remain silent. She crossed her arms. Then she looked directly at me and smiled. Not a nervous smile, a challenging smile. After decades in court, I have learned that arrogance often appears right before someone makes a serious mistake, and Olivia was heading toward one. Rachel continued testifying. She spoke about medical appointments Daniel missed, school events he skipped, birthdays he forgot. Photos of Emma appeared on the courtroom screen. Pictures from dance recitals, school ceremonies, father-daughter events. In photo after photo, Daniel's seat sat empty. The courtroom grew emotional. Even spectators who had entered as strangers seemed affected. Then something unexpected happened. Daniel asked to speak. His attorney looked surprised. So did Rachel. Daniel stood slowly. His voice shook. And for the first time all day, he appeared completely honest. He admitted many of Rachel's claims were true. He admitted he missed visits. He admitted he failed Emma. He admitted he had made terrible choices. The courtroom listened carefully. Then he said something nobody expected. I kept trying to fix things, but every time I mentioned Emma, Olivia got angry. The room froze. Olivia immediately stood. "What are you doing?" Daniel ignored her. For the first time, he wasn't looking at Olivia. He was looking at Rachel. Then he was looking at photographs of his daughter, his eyes filled with tears. He admitted he had allowed someone else's influence to damage his relationship with Emma. The courtroom sat in complete silence. Olivia became furious. She began shouting. She accused Daniel of lying. She accused Rachel of manipulating him. She accused everyone in the courtroom of being against her. Then she pointed toward Rachel. And what happened next sealed her fate. Olivia called Rachel a pathetic loser in open court. The room erupted. I immediately ordered silence. Then Olivia made one final mistake. She continued arguing with me. Not the attorneys, not Rachel, me. She ignored repeated instructions. She interrupted proceedings. She disrupted testimony. And finally, she challenged the authority of the court itself. At that moment, I had seen enough. I ordered courtroom security to escort Olivia out immediately. The entire courtroom watched in silence. Her expression changed instantly. The confidence vanished. The smirk disappeared. She protested. She argued. She demanded to stay. But the decision had already been made. Security escorted her through the courtroom doors. And just like that, the loudest voice in the room was gone. The silence that followed felt almost unbelievable. Then something remarkable happened. Daniel broke down, not dramatically. Not for sympathy. He simply broke. He admitted he had allowed the wrong person to influence his priorities. He admitted Emma deserved better. Rachel sat quietly as tears formed in her eyes. For the first time that day, they weren't arguing. They were simply two parents confronting painful truths. The remainder of the hearing focused on facts, dockings, financial records, custody schedules, missed obligations. Without distractions, the truth became much clearer. Daniel accepted responsibility. Rachel presented overwhelming evidence. And by the time closing statements ended, the outcome was obvious. When I delivered my decision, the courtroom became completely silent. I ruled in favor of Rachel. Daniel was ordered to pay all overdue child support immediately. A structured repayment plan was established. Additional penalties were imposed for repeated violations of the custody order. Future visitation would continue only under strict compliance with court requirements. But I also included something unusual. I ordered family counseling, not because the law required it, because Emma deserved parents willing to put her first. Then I looked directly at Daniel. I told him something I hoped he would remember forever. Children don't remember expensive gifts. They remember who showed up. They remember who kept promises. They remember who was there when it mattered. Daniel nodded through tears. Rachel cried quietly. And for the first time all day, both parents seemed focused on the same person, their daughter. Several months later, I received an update. Daniel completed counseling. He repaired his visitation record. He rebuilt trust with Emma slowly and consistently. Rachel reported significant improvement. And Olivia? She was no longer part of Daniel's life. The relationship ended shortly after the hearing. The case taught a lesson I have never forgotten. The loudest person in a courtroom is rarely the strongest. Respect matters. Responsibility matters. But most importantly, children deserve adults who place them above pride, ego, and personal drama. Justice isn't always about punishment. Sometimes justice is giving people one final opportunity to become who they should have been all along. And in this case, that opportunity changed a family's future forever.